Good morning, everybody. I'm Holly Clear with the Social Media Advisor. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining those who are with us live right now and who will watch us later on. I am very excited to introduce to you a dear friend of mine. Her name is Yvonne, and I'd love for her to introduce herself to you and what she's excited about right now, and then we'll get to hear a special question that I've got prepared for you.
All right. Well, everyone, welcome. I'm actually, Holly, I'm just so glad to be doing this because I've been thinking about doing a Be Live and I didn't know how, and now you're teaching me. It's awesome. That's what you do. You're the social media advisor. So for me, I am a book coach from Your Publishing Pros, a former book publishing professional. I used to publish books years ago, and I tell you, I just enjoyed working with the authors so much that after I retired from Blog Pause, just going on almost a year now, not that I'm not still involved with all those dogs and cats, you know I am.
Yes.
But when I retired, I said, what am I going to do next? I mean, that's what we do. We don't just retire, we folks who are retirement age. So I started Your Publishing Pros because I really wanted to help people get their voice out there. I really wanted to help women especially tell the story of who they are, because I hear so many phenomenal stories from women. And it's more than just the business that they're running. It's them and the things they've done and accomplished. And they seem to feel like they should leave that out. And I don't think they should. I want to bring it back in. So Your Publishing Pros works with women primarily, but women and the men who love them is what I like to say, to help them tell their story and amplify their voice throughout the universe.
Well, and isn't it a fact that everyone has a story inside of them? Yeah, so that's a book that could be published. Anyone could publish their story, their journey, right?
It's interesting because what I'm learning as I go forward with talking to the women in my networking groups and some of the men that I meet is that the first question, I don't know how do I do that? I don't even know, what is my story? And the truth is, we can start small. We can create a couple of ebooks about what you do. And while we do that, I will begin to nurse out the who you are. And then after 3 or 4 ebooks, now you've got a small gathering of content that's a story that is powerful and phenomenal. And so I'm starting to help people understand that you start small. It's like eating an elephant, one bite at a time.
One bite at a time. Well, let's start by getting to know a little bit something personal about you. If you were to be a superhero, what would you be and why?
I want to be the Hulk.
The Hulk.
The Hulk. Any movie that has the Hulk in it, I'm going to go see. I tell you, when the Hulk shows up, I just feel so empowered. It's an empowering character to me. And I don't know, maybe I love the green part because, I like green witches too. But the Hulk is very, very powerful. And, I know he comes out only when the scientist gets angry, really angry. But then he takes care of business. And, sometimes you have to let those feelings out to take care of business. It all works together. It's the story that I'm trying to get people to tell that they're afraid to tell. Stop being afraid. Be the Hulk.
Well, and that's a really, really good point because there is some fear in sharing your story, right? And then there's some challenges and roadblocks, like as the Hulk experience, that you have to kind of break through. And how do you do that without a coach? Right?
Well, interestingly, a lot of people attempt it and find that it's harder than they expected. And primarily because, here's the thing, your story is so unique to you that sometimes you leave the important parts out. It's like giving directions to someone who has no idea where they're going, and you say, turn here, do this, and you leave something out because it's so natural to you. You go there every day, and the person taking the directions doesn't end up where they want to be because you left that one little thing out that was so important, that one landmark. I especially need landmarks. Don't give me directions if you can't tell me what buildings to look for.
I get directed the same way.
And so the what happens is you become a reporter. I don't want you to report on your life. I want you to tell the story. So instead of reporting that this happened and then that happened and so I became this, I want to say, I got up and I had a flash of inspiration because of a conversation I had with my dog yesterday. Doesn't matter what it is. You want to be relatable, build relationships, show you're a human being and not a robot reporting. Does that make sense?
Yes. Oh, totally. Completely. You've got to be genuine in your voice when you're on video. You've got to be genuine in your voice when you're online. You've got to be genuine in your voice. People will know if you're not being authentic. They will, I mean, you can smell it, right? Especially if there's transcription and, you're reading lines that are scripted. Yes. It just doesn't come across as authentic and natural. And such a good point. I think we do run into that that story idea of here's the timeline of when everything started, what happened next, but it's what is the actual thing that you're trying to capture.
Yeah, and a lot of what
telling the story.
A lot of what I've learned, and I've been doing this now for about 15 years, what I've learned is that sometimes you can go too far the other way. So that's what a coach does. A coach says to you, wow, that is a fantastic story, but let's not put it in the book. Let's save it for when you're having a one-on-one with someone and they can relate to the story. In the book, maybe it doesn't fit. One of the things that we tend to do as human beings is we all have this angst in our background and we want to get it out and talk about it, and that's wonderful. I love it when you put that in your story, but I'm probably going to take some of it out because the reader wants to be able to see the success story that you have become, and the person that success did have to deal with that angst. But let's talk about how you came out the other way. And sure, there was something difficult here, difficult there. So I say, unless you're planning to go on Dr. Phil, let's leave that out.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love that you're real. For sure.
I really want people to tell that phenomenal story, and I want to be able to help them so they aren't afraid of, and blogging, let me tell you, Holly, way back, I was one of the first bloggers out there in the business world. So lipsticking.com, which I'm wearing my lipsticking scarf. We are relaunching lipsticking.com, and you will hear more about that. But when I did that, and I was one of the first bloggers, especially women bloggers. There were a lot of men. The men were getting all the attention. But the women were asking each other, how much can I really share? How much of the story of me on my blog? So this was 12, 15 years ago. And if you were gay, could you come out on your blog? If you were whatever, there were a number of things that women who didn't want children, could you actually say that out loud? So we have come a long way since then, but there's still that question of how much do I share on my blog?
Well, I think that's the same all the way around. How much do I share in my blog, in my story, in social media, in my website, in life?
That, yes.
It's a challenge, but how do we balance it? And, balancing the fine line, because it is weighted, authentic, too much, how do we measure that? And I think that, that you've got tremendous experience behind that nice balance. What's a struggle that you've overcome in your business getting to where you are today?
Oh, there's so many. And I want people to understand that struggle is actually a gift. If you think everything is flowing wonderfully and you're not having a struggle here and there, you're not being authentic, you're not really being the relationship building person that you should be. So I have struggled a lot with what kind of books to work on.
Okay.
And one of the things in the early days of Windsor Media Enterprises, WME Books, did I want to work with men? I'll be honest. I'm so focused on the woman's story, the woman's voice. It was a struggle when a couple of men came, and I really liked them. And I was like, I don't know if I can coach you because I'm so focused. And I decided that was a bubble I put myself in. I had to get out of it, so I did.
Well, there's something powerful about being a business owner and decision maker on getting to choose who you want to work with. You get to choose who your coach is. You get to choose who you get to spend your time with, because honestly, that is part of you, that you're investing in that person. And if it's not a good fit, it's not a good fit. And it's okay to let it be that.
Yes. I will tell you, there were a couple authors that we turned away, and you can say, this is not something I want to devote my time and energy to, even though you're writing me a check. No. And sometimes you have to learn that the hard way, as we all take on clients that didn't necessarily turn out the way we had hoped. But
yeah.
It's a good learning experience. It's a roadblock that you get by. It's exactly what needs to happen, because it teaches you, not only does it teach you, well, I understand now the personality and the kind of client that I want, but it teaches you how to deal with the difficulties somebody might bring to the table, because even the best client can sometimes be a little hard.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a living, breathing experience, right? This game of life.
Yeah.
It's a roller coaster ride, and we're all on for the ride. It's just a matter of how we deal with it and how we overcome things in our day, and the victories that we get to celebrate or not. And I love it. I love your experience. I love you sharing in that story. What is the driving force to do what you do every day for these people who have that story inside?
I think the driving force is, as a child, I didn't think I had a voice. So when I talk about angst, there's a lot of angst in my background. And the wonderful thing, and again, this is what I want people to learn, the wonderful thing is, in the last 10 years, certainly, I have come to understand, not so much that I had to go through that angst. That really annoys me when people say that, because some of it was awful. But I have come to recognize that it was okay. It was a small part of what happened. And so it did, however, convince me. And by the way, part of that was my relationship with my mother. My mother was a doer. She ran a business in 1950-something, 58 or 59, I don't know. She went and got a loan from a bank and opened a grocery store down the street from our house. Now, you didn't do that if you were a woman back in that day. That wasn't something a woman accomplished. So I didn't appreciate it then, but man, do I look back on that now and know that started to give me a voice. That started to show me my mom's voice was part of what she was doing there. She was the best at what she did. And so as an adult, I really think that influenced me, whether I realized it at the time or not. It taught me that, hey, you have to go out and accomplish it and use your voice to make it happen. And so when I see women not doing that, I'm like, no, let me help you with that, because you are a phenomenal person, and let's tell the world about it.
Yes. Oh, that's so powerful.
Because I believe in a collective, Holly. I believe women in their collective voice accomplish great things.
Absolutely. We have to rely on our tribe. We're sisters. We have to unite and come together. And there's something powerful in a voice of one, but even more powerful in a voice of many. Yes. And yeah, that's really good. So circling back around to your business, and I know you have some exciting things you want to share with that. What are the top 3 services that you're offering right now?
Well, from your publishing pros, let me tell you, I absolutely am dedicated to being a book coach. And that's any kind of a book. I can coach you on a small ebook or a collection of ebooks to build into a book. I also can be your advisor on, hey, I don't even know if I should do this. And if I do it, what does that mean? So we can talk about that. It can be an hour, it can be 3 hours. The idea being that people need to understand, where is the publishing opportunity? What does that mean? Who will read it? How will I get it out there? And the big question, should I even write this book? I mean, yeah. Let me help you with that. Let me look at what else is in the marketplace in that particular subject, and we'll see where your unique angle is, because I bet you have one. And then, of course, I also do product development, so I can help you develop your about page on your website. I'm very passionate about that, and that's the beginning of your story. So I'm willing to work with people on things like that.
That's a great range of different services, and all encompassing the heart of that story and passion message. Yes. And that's you. That's your niche.
Yes, that's me.
You're the passion message lady. I love it. So what do you feel would be, if someone was to take a next step to grow with you in their business this year, what would that be?
Well, I think the advisement part of what I just talked about, because we need to sit down and discuss the story and where you are at this point ready to put it. So maybe you're not ready to write that book, but let's look at your about page. Let's look at the opportunity to develop some ebooks and some product around the story and what it means, and see where that fits in your business and in 2018. And I think that's something that I'm looking forward to working with people on, because there are so many questions. And I can write blog posts and blog posts and blog posts and answer the questions, but it's not the same as being able to sit down one-on-one.
Yeah, there's something powerful about that relationship and the intimacy of getting to learn someone's journey and story all the way around. So I do believe in that. You have to sit down. You have to nail through history and experiences to find what is that unique you that's going to catch the eye of the others. I love that. So what are some things that you're doing this year to reach some of your personal goals in your business?
Well, I'm going to be doing more social media.
Yay!
And I'm going to work with somebody I know sitting across from me. I definitely believe that, back in the day, social media was easy because you did your blog and you did Twitter, and that was great. Everybody looked at it and you got seen. And there's so much more to it today. And I think the strategy is enormously important, and I don't have a strategy, so I need to get one for social media. I'm also doing my own writing, so I'm going to, as Tom likes to say, eat my own cooking. And,
that's cute.
I'm developing and writing a book on women in leadership. And so you will see that coming along, and I'm going to be talking to a lot of women because I want it to represent us. I want it to represent those of us in the community who are running these small businesses and getting things done. But so we aren't going to be on the Forbes 500 list or the Forbes 50 or whatever it is. But man, we are out there doing stuff.
Yes. Every step you take to launch visibility and to share with others and that empowerment, I think it's very, very timely right now, your topic for your book. And I think you never know. You could be Forbes 550, 500, whatever, that you just never know how it's going to be received. And if it's received well, that's awesome. But the fact of the matter is, you got to showcase. This is the point in time where you're going to be showcasing a bunch of women that you value and appreciate and respect in your life, in your tribe, and in the community. And that's awesome.
Yeah. And I think, Holly, it shows also that I'm doing the kinds of things that I'm asking other women to do, number one. And number two, it is a passion for me. It's as much important, it's as important to me as working with other women to build their story. Because part of my story is how I rose from being an employee, the way many of us have been. We've all been out there being employees. And just becoming someone who understands the power of a woman's voice, whether she has a corner office or not. In my travels, I've met so many powerful women, and some of them know it and aren't using that power. Some of them don't know it, so I want to uncover it. And I just want women to be recognized, whether they have a corner office or not.
That's powerful. Well, thank you for doing that. I mean, seriously, it's a good time to really showcase. And a lot of us women entrepreneurs, we don't want to share. We don't want to share. We don't want the spotlight. We don't want the acknowledgement. And it's because we've put our noses to the grindstone. We've gotten it done. We're taking care of business. And you know what? I don't have time for that. But there is a time to celebrate our successes and our victories.
Yeah. Men have no trouble doing this, Holly. Seriously, this is not a criticism. This is a fact. Men have no trouble talking about how wonderful they are and all the things that they've done. Women have been taught to be quiet and sit in the corner. And it appalls me that women your age are still doing this, because I was hoping we'd be done with it when my girls were grown. And my girls don't sit in the corner. God bless them. They learn something from me. And I just want women to understand it's okay to say you're phenomenal, because you are.
Yeah, that's a hard one to chew on and to swallow a little bit. And yes, we are. And there's a fine balance between celebrating how awesome we are and then, going too far with it, right? So yeah, I mean, there's definitely a fine balance. But yes, I want to see a place where my kids can stand up and be bold as well. And I see that every day. They're teenagers and all their little friends, and they're invited. The schools are invited into a world right now where there's no first place ribbon. Everyone gets a participation medal, right? Everyone. It's not the same. That's not how it works in real life. You apply for a job and not everyone gets the job, right? Someone gets it and someone doesn't. And so you have to know how to go through those challenges and celebrate when you did get that win. And know what it's like to pick yourself up and go on to the next thing. And so I think that's the challenge the next generation has, is how do I pick myself up and go on to the next thing when I was told that everyone wins. Yeah, not everybody wins.
You are correct. It's one thing to recognize everyone as having come and given it their best. It's another thing to say everyone is equal. There's equality in, if you hire me, you have to pay me the same as you would a man. That's equality. There is a difference between how I do the job and succeed at it and how someone else does. And yes, the company, and if you're the company, you need to do this. You have to say you are not performing. Doesn't matter what gender you are. Doesn't matter what age you are. Doesn't matter where to work. If you are not performing, I am so sorry, you have to go. But that's the thing is the kids today, I think that starts at home, even though when they go to school, it seems like, or some of these events or sporting things they do where everybody gets a trophy. Isn't that wonderful? I think at home, you need to be the mom and dad, regardless, or the mom and significant other, whatever the family structure is. There needs to be the setup where literally at my house, I'll tell you a small example. We would have open conversations. You were allowed to disagree with me. You were allowed to bring me your argument. And if it didn't work, it was the end of the conversation. No whining, no begging. Here's why it doesn't. Oh, let me show you real quick. So this is Can you see it? I am your mom. Your argument is invalid. That's how it was in our house.
That's cute. And then there's another sign behind you that says she thought she could and she did. And I think, I mean, all the conversation all the way around is knowing that you can have a voice, knowing that there's some powerful things about overcoming challenges, celebrating victories, and knowing that it is okay to share your voice. And I mean, it goes back to when you were a kid, right? It's okay to have your voice. So let's, what is the next step as far as what you have prepared for our viewers? What would you like to offer them today in order to take the next steps to work with you?
Two things. One, I want everyone to go to lipsticking.com and check out our new design, and something absolutely amazing is going to be happening there. And by the way, it's connected to your Publishing Pros, because lipsticking.com is my voice and Publishing Pros is my business. So on Publishing Pros, I'd love to have people sign up for the newsletter, because I don't want them to be mediocre. I want them to be phenomenal. So don't be mediocre. Go sign up for the newsletter and get all the tips and tricks on how to amplify your voice.
Well, and we will be sharing in comments below the link for lipsticking.com and your Publishing Pros, so that way you guys know exactly where to connect online through the website, sign up for the newsletter, as well as the different social spaces that she has online as well. I love that. And I love that you've got a place to share your personal voice and a place to share your professional voice. And so definitely make sure to go check that out. This has been awesome, and time flies by way too fast, Yvonne.
No, it does. It does. I love speaking with you, and you are such a great representation of a woman's voice and what can happen with it. Oh, because when I look at you, Holly, it isn't just how smart you are and what you've done. It's the fact that I can tell you are what I call in learning mode, meaning you're constantly learning and teaching and educating yourself so that you can offer your clients the best. And that is the number one thing we have to all be, in learning mode.
Oh, I love that. And you're going to make me cry. So with that, I appreciate you so much, Yvonne, and I'm sending you a heart. And thank you to everybody who's joined us today and will watch this later as well. It's been a pleasure. It is such a joy to be able to share you with my tribe and my network, Yvonne. And I hope each of you get the opportunity to go online, subscribe for that newsletter, and search out your story. Talk to Yvonne about it. It's powerful. Thanks so much, everybody. I hope you have a great day, and let's be awesome.
Thank you.